Two best friends are gunned down, but footage from the aftermath poses more questions than answers.
It's clear to us that this happened somewhere else.
I want to hit my head against the wall. Now we're back to square one again.
Tonight, two young men are in critical condition after a double shooting.
To solve the case, Lt.Joe Kenda reaches out to an old friend for help.
It gets no better than this. You've got a hot tip, and it's an ongoing situation.
As investigators inch closer to the truth, a sinister plot emerges.
He believes it was the same vehicle he saw on television.
Now I think we're going to get somewhere. All choices come with consequences. Some are unintended. And some of those choices put you in harm's way.
There's one thing that never changes: murder. A life has been taken. Their stories are now my stories. I never know where a case is going to lead, but I'll never stop until it's solved. Somebody has to look out for the victim.
If you kill, I will find you.
It's Saturday night, and Officer Dennis Jewell is patrolling the east side of the city.
That particular day, I did have a civilian ride along with me. That ride-along person happened to be my sister-in-law, Debbie, who wanted to know what my job entailed.
Dispatch to car 44. We have a report of an intoxicated individual requiring medical assistance.
That night we were out driving down the road and he got a call.
Car 44, 10-4.
Drunk person?
Yeah, this could get interesting.
Car 44, be advised, this is now a shooting. They are reporting shots fired.
And while en route, I was notified via dispatch that it looked like this was coming in as a shooting.
Did they just say a shooting?
Yeah, hold on.
This was really, really exciting because I had never been somewhere where someone had gotten shot before.
Listen to me, Debbie. No matter what happens, I need you to stay in the car.
And I just said, I will definitely stay in the car. I do not want to die tonight.
An ambulance has beaten them there. And so they see one victim on the ground being treated, and then they realize that there is another person inside with paramedics attending to him also.
Stay with me. Come on. Hey, buddy, stay with me. Come on.
Man, he looks bad.
Can I get an escort to the hospital?
You got it. Follow me.
Based on what I was seeing, there was a good chance that this individual wasn't going to survive this.
But I was hoping he wasn't going to die. No one deserves that.
Oh, hey, Joe. Will you come in here and fasten me up?
Sure. The kind of occupations that my wife and I had, she's a nurse, I'm a policeman, resulted in little or no social engagements. And at this particular moment, Kathy's pleased at the idea of going out.
You look great.
Thank you. You don't look so bad yourself. We really need to get going. Mike and Sandy are already there.
You know where the keys are?
Yeah, they're over there on the...
And of course, the phone rings. And we are going out, but not together because I'm going to work.
It's Kenda. All right, I'll be right there. Bye. Sorry, Kath. Rain check?
Well, you can keep a rain check, but I'm not missing out on my night.
Give Mike and Sandy my best.
I will. And, hey, be careful.
This crime scene is a convenience store parking lot attached to a gas station on Galley Road.
That convenience store was an absolutely notorious area of town. It's such high traffic for problems.
When I arrive at the crime scene, patrol officers are already present.
Evening, Lieutenant.
So what do we got?
2 male victims, multiple gunshot wounds. 24-year-old Lance Strickland and 20-year-old Walter Wright. Strickland was transported to St. Francis and Wright to Memorial Hospital.
It is a common practice in medical transport to not bring multiple trauma patients into a hospital. They generally only have one trauma room and one trauma team available.
Are there any witnesses?
Store clerk, one of the victims was found inside, being held for question.
Okay, the store sounds like a good place to start.
Detective Ritz is inside.
Thanks.
Our purpose at this point is to determine what we can from the physical evidence. In the store, where one of the victims collapsed at the front counter when asking for help from the clerk.
Hey, Brian.
Hey, Lieutenant. Appreciate you getting here so quick.
You know whose blood this is?
We do. Lance Strickland. I think he probably went down right here. Probably brings the display down trying to stay upright. But he wasn't shot inside.
There's blood smearing on the floor and blood pooling on the floor. You have blood moving in one direction, which is inside the building. Lance Strickland walked into the store and collapsed. The evidence supports that.
If you follow the blood trail, it actually goes out to the parked car outside.
The guy was probably looking for help when he collapsed.
Yeah, that's right. I've got something else for you, though. Follow me.
Now, the vehicle's the entire crime scene that we have. Initially, what we see is the vehicles pulled into the parking lot, kind of parked haphazardly.
Do you know whose vehicle this is?
Yes, sir. Rented tags. The car comes back registered with one of your victims, Lance Strickland.
Look at the glass on the seat. There's blood on the steering wheel.
Yeah, there's blood back here, too.
So both victims were shot in the vehicle.
The driver's door window has been shattered by gunfire, thought to be .380 caliber. It's possible from looking at this that the shooter was outside the car and shooting into the car.
Did you find any shell casings?
No, sir, I didn't. The other officers found these 2 wallets on the floorboard.
Oh, yeah?
While there was identification in the wallets, there was no money or any other items. This could have been very simple, a robbery that went wrong, where maybe our victims fought back and got shot, or it could be somebody was actually trying to eliminate these 2 individuals.
From the position of the wallets on the floor and the position of the blood, if Lance is the driver and Walter is the rear seat passenger. So if there's 2 individuals in this car, why is one of them in the back seat? There's probably a third person we are currently missing.
Let's see if the clerk can clear this up for us.
Where's Martin? He's right over there.
Thanks. George?
Yes.
I'm Lieutenant Kenda, this is Detective Ritz. I know it's been a difficult night for you, so we'll try to make this quick.
Yeah, okay. I mean, I've seen a lot of sketchy stuff, but I ain't ever seen anything like that before.
What do you mean?
He reports he was working there alone. He had some inventory issues and he was in the back.
What the hell?
When he came back toward his counter position, he sees a young man staggering in the front door.
We get a lot of drunks and they cause problems outside. So I just went ahead and called 911. Yeah, I'm at the market on Valley. I got a drunk guy staggering. Hold on, he's trying to get in. Hey, man, you can't be in here. Hold on, he's trying to come into the store right now.
Oh, please.
Hey, you need to leave, man. Hey, man, I think he's been shot. He's bleeding. Are you okay? Hold on. What the hell?
He looks out the front window and he sees a second individual who had collapsed out of the car and was trying to crawl toward the store.
Did you see anybody else? Anybody with a gun or anything like that?
No, it was just his friend laying on the ground. There was so much blood, though.
But you didn't hear any gunshots?
No, I didn't. I had the radio going pretty loud in the back.
He was very open and forthwith with us, so it's like we have no reason to doubt him.
Well, thanks for your help. Do you have any working security cameras in the store?
Actually, yeah. I got one that has a view of the whole area. I could get you a tape if you'd like.
Yeah, that'd be great.
We are thrilled about surveillance cameras because it might contain suspect information. We don't know. We're very anxious to find out.
So the call came in at 7:15. Let's see what was going on the 15 minutes prior to that.
We're hoping to see the actual shooting. We're hoping to see something that will lead us to the identity of the person who shot these two individuals.
We see a vacant lot in the first few frames of the video. And then we see our victim vehicle come driving in at a high rate of speed, slamming to a stop. We see Lance get out of the driver's side, bleeding profusely.
Looks like we have another crime scene to find.
Looks like.
Viewing that tape establishes that this crime did not occur in this parking lot. It happened somewhere else. I want to hit my head against the wall because what we thought might be really useful turns out to be useless. Now we're back to square one again. We're investigating the double shooting of Lance Strickland and Walter Wright. Both are in critical condition. And we have a surveillance tape we thought might show who's responsible for this crime, but it clearly showed that this did not occur in front of the store. We need to find the original crime scene, which we have not yet discovered.
Let's play the tape one more time.
I'll see if I can slow it down. Might help.
Whenever you watch a surveillance tape, you're going to go back and try to concentrate on little particular parts of it.
Oh, you pause it right there?
Yeah.
So that's our man Lance in the driver's seat getting out.
Yeah. He's definitely got blood on his lower back, too.
And no wonder the store clerk thought he was drunk.
Yep.
The gunshot wound in the lower body is extremely painful, so you would certainly consider someone staggering as a result of the pain.
Can we pause it on the car?
Yeah, let me try another angle first.
While looking at the video, there's nobody in the front passenger seat. That could tell us that somebody else was in the car, possibly a shooter. Could there have been others?
So what do you say we split up?
You want to go to Memorial? I'll go to St. Francis.
Sounds good. I'll be over there afterwards.
All right.
We're hopeful that the victims can answer these questions, but we're also concerned they may not be able to ever answer anything.
Hey. How you doing?
Good.
I'm looking for a gunshot wound victim came in last night, Lance Strickland.
Yeah, I helped admit him last night. The doctor says he's got pretty extensive internal damages. He's in surgery now.
They said that Lance has a gunshot wound to the lower left back. It penetrated and severed part of his colon and opened his lower intestine.
Did you see anything before he went to surgery?
He was in and out of consciousness. He couldn't even remember where he was.
He's in some level of shock from the injury. So he went from coherent speech to incoherent speech.
Has any family showed up?
No, he wanted us to get a hold of his friend Randy Robbins, but we don't have his information.
All right, we'll check on that, and we'll come check on Lance later.
Okay.
Thanks for your help.
Yeah.
Kenda heads to St. Francis in hopes that Walter Wright is in better shape to talk.
Hey, Brian, any luck?
Well, Walter was in surgery when I got here, but his doctors seem pretty hopeful.
He has two separate gunshot wounds, one in the shoulder and one under the right armpit. Both bullets actually missed any vital organs.
Well, that's good news.
Yeah. The responding officer was waiting to talk to us, but right before you arrived, Walter's girlfriend showed up.
Oh, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
What'd you have to say?
I haven't talked to her yet. I was waiting on you. She's in the hallway just down here.
All right. Miss Logan?
Officers,
Please tell me you're here about Walter. The doctors won't let me see him.
I said Walter is in surgery, but one of the treating doctors is pretty optimistic that this kid's going to be fine.
Thank you. That's such good news. I haven't stopped shaking since I heard.
I know it's difficult, but we need your help. What can you tell us about Walter?
Well, he looks out for me. He's a hard worker. He's always picking up extra hours.
And what does he do?
He's a roofer.
She says that Walter works for a local roofing company, and that's where he met Lance Strickland.
And it expanded where they're spending a lot of time after hours together. All she knew is that Lance and Walter had planned to hang out all day.
When I didn't hear from Walter, I thought something terrible had happened. It's just not like him.
Can you think of anyone in their lives that might want to harm them?
No, absolutely not. Everyone likes them. They're friends with everybody.
Yeah, well, thank you for your time. We'll notify you if we need anything.
Thank you.
What do you think? I think we need to talk to this Walter guy.
While they wait for Walter to get out of surgery, they hope the responding officer, Dennis Jewell, might be able to give them some insight.
Officer Jewell, it's good to see you. Thanks for sticking around.
Oh, glad to help.
So Walter was able to give you a statement?
Yes, sir. I had him talking right up until they took him back for surgery.
And when I initially got into the emergency room, I'm trying to get in to get information from him because I don't know if this is the last thing this guy's ever going to say.
Walter explained that he and Lance had been out driving around that evening, trying to figure out what they were going to do.
And they decided to give a friend of a friend a ride.
He described him as a young black male, short hair, tall, slender build.
He was able to tell me that at some point, the person that was riding with them told him to stop the car. The person that pulled a gun said, "Give me all your money."
Shut up, bitch!
And at that point, started shooting.
And after he shoots them both, he gets out of the car and runs off into the night. So now we have a story.
Did he say anything else?
I know he's in a lot of pain, but it felt to me like he was holding back.
Yeah, his story doesn't gel with the evidence.
The physical evidence says the shots were fired from outside the car, not inside the car. So Walter either is mistaken or he's lying about what happened in this event.
Did you say what happened by chance?
Not entirely, but I might have gotten a partial street name.
While I was obtaining information, he was able to give me a partial street sign spelling of VAB.
VAB. Well, thank you.
Yep.
I'm not confident that Walter's memory is either reliable or truthful, but a lead is a lead, so we will take what we can get for the moment. When you consider the facts and the condition of these victims, it's fairly obvious that this crime scene is probably not very far away. If it was, that'd already be dead.
Let me know if there's anything else I can help with.
Great, thank you. Hey. All right, so the convenience store is right here. No, there's no way they could have gotten very far. No.
We make the assumption, upon reviewing a city map, that it has to be very close to that convenience store.
Here we go. VAB, Babcock Road.
That's got to be it.
There we go. About 2.5 blocks from the convenience store.
Kenda sends a small team of officers to canvass Babcock Road.
From what we know, our suspect apparently had to shoot him here and then leave. We want to know if he left anything behind that might identify him.
We're looking for physical evidence, automotive glass, maybe blood, maybe expended casings from a handgun. More importantly, it can possibly produce a witness to the event.
Anything?
No, nothing yet. The few people we did talk to were too far out of range to have seen anything.
Yeah, no surprises there. Thanks.
There are very few houses on this street, and there's very little possibility for an eyewitness.
Hey, detectives. I think I've got something. Looks like it came from 380.
Yeah, I got broken glass over here, too.
Yeah, looks like we found our crime scene.
Even though we found where the shooting took place, we're not getting anywhere with crime scene evidence, and we're not getting anywhere with witnesses because we can't produce any. I decided to use a tried and true tactic to gain new information.
I got an idea. 4 Paul 1 to dispatch. I need to patch me through to KKTV. We need to get Ann Irvin to the market on Galley right away.
Tonight, 2 young men are in critical condition after a double shooting, and the police are looking to the public for help.
I mean, it gets no better than this. You've got a hot tip, it's going on right now, and it comes from the best source you can get, which is the police. And it's an ongoing situation.
The victims then drove themselves right here to this store looking for help. The police have released photos of the victim's vehicle and are looking for anyone with information relating to the shooting to call CSPD immediately. I'm Ann Irvin, KKTV News. Okay, cut. Great, thanks guys. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Annie.
Good luck.
Appreciate it.
The next day, our little news stunt actually paid off.
Miss Kenda.
My name is John Waters.
Yes?
John Waters says that he thinks the police should talk to his nephew because his nephew was with Lance and Walter on the evening of the shooting.
Oh, really?
I think he's involved in this.
All right, thanks for calling. We'll be there shortly.
Does his nephew carry a gun, or is he yet someone else we don't know about? We're investigating the double shooting of Lance Strickland, 24 years of age, and Walter Wright, 20 years of age. The local news does a story on the shooting, and we get one informant that calls in that says he knows both of these victims.
Mr. Waters? Come on in.
We go see Mr. John Waters, the person who called in, and it turns out that he is a very pleasant man, middle-aged guy.
We really appreciate the call.
Well, I was just watching the news. And when I saw Lance's car with that busted window, it got me kind of spooked.
Is Lance a friend of yours?
Yeah, he and Walter are my roofing buddies. We work together downtown. They were just here the other day.
Mr. Waters reports that Lance and Walter stopped by and had a few beers with him and his nephew, who he identifies as Ken Eatman.
All I know is that Lance, Walter, and Ken left together and rode off somewhere.
We suspected that there was a third person in the car. Mr. Waters says there absolutely was, and he was Ken Eatman.
So we're kind of wondering, is Ken our suspect? Is he our shooter?
Do you know where we can find Ken?
Yeah, he's back there in his room. I told him I was calling you guys. Hey, Ken, get out here for a minute.
Perfect. Go wake up your nephew and tell him you want to talk to him.
Are, Lance and Walt okay?
Ken, why don't you have a seat?
Ken looks like he's sweating bullets. He has the look of someone who's got something to hide, and we like that.
Would you excuse us for a moment?
Oh, of course.
Thank you. We need you to tell us everything that happened yesterday.
Okay, yesterday. It's not really too much to tell. We were out back and we had a couple beers.
Anybody want another round?
I'll take one.
Gotcha.
Hey, Ken. You think you can help us score some weed?
Some weed? Yeah, I should be able to help you out. How much?
I don't know, man. Just enough to get us all getting high.
All right, I got you.
Ken then says he agreed to help them out.
I had them drop me off at the Senator Mall just to make a phone call to one of my friends.
He would then make a deal, and then the guys would come back and get him. They would go over to some other location where they would complete the deal and be done.
Problem is, I couldn't get a hold of my dealer. So I'm sitting there waiting for them to pick me back up, and they never showed.
So where'd you go after that?
I waited till about 7. After that, I just said forget it, and I just walked home. Now that's a long walk. I was pissed at them until I found out what happened.
Uh-huh.
Ken is lying through his teeth, which is normal. He's trying to distance himself from the event by saying he never made anything happen. Well, let's leave him be for a minute, and let's go see what else we can learn from someone else.
Sounds like a load of if you ask me.
Just makes you wonder who else they ran into that night.
Exactly.
What if Walter and Lance find some 18-year-old kid somewhere along the way who tells them he can provide them with drugs, and he directs them to this out-of-the-way place where he robs and shoots both of them? Well, that could work.
We really don't know a whole lot about our victims, whether they have these contacts. So we've got to find somebody who knows something about the victims that can tell us something.
We know at least one individual associated with Lance by the name of Randy Robbins. We determine where he lives and try to make contact. He's not home, but his wife Laura agrees to talk to us.
Rand and I were planning on heading to the hospital for a visit after he finishes his shift.
Well, that's why we're here. You see, Lance listed Randy as his emergency contact. Any idea why he might do that?
Oh, yeah. We all go way back.
Her husband met Lance in California, and they were good enough friends that he asked if he could come stay with them. He's been living with them for several months. He'd been very well behaved. He found a job. He was a good employee, and she liked him.
Listen, Laura, I hate to ask you this, but do you know if Lance was involved in any sort of drugs?
Lance? No. Lance doesn't mess with drugs. But his friend Walter is a different story.
And what do you mean?
Laura Robbins says that she doesn't particularly like Walter and thinks that he may dabble in drugs, and she didn't like it. And she didn't like it when Lance brought him around where they live.
Have you ever seen him using?
No, but he knows how I feel about that stuff. I just have a suspicion.
Well, that's interesting. So we have one novice in Lance and maybe one that isn't in Walter. What we don't yet know with any certainty, what happened on Babcock and who's responsible for it.
And go back and talk to more of the neighbors?
I'm not sure. At this rate, we'll be at it forever.
Detectives, sorry to interrupt. We got a guy who just walked in, says he might have seen your suspects right before the shooting.
Did you say suspects? Have you seen more than one?
Yes, sir.
So we have two shooters? We have a guy that says he knows. Now I think we're going to get somewhere. We're investigating the attempted murder of Lance and Walter, and we now have a witness come forward who says he has seen the two suspects involved in this case.
Robert, I hear you may have some information for us.
I sure do. Nothing gets past me. You see, I lived here a long time, and I absolutely have no tolerance for this criminality.
So what's this?
It's my neighborhood watch notes. I'm the president.
And he further says he's so concerned about the activities of some of the people who live in this neighborhood that he has formed an unofficial neighborhood watch group.
Nosy neighbors are a mixed blessing. They can be a pain in the neck because they're nosy, but they can be really helpful to investigators because of that.
Tell you what, why don't you start by taking us through your notes from the other night?
Of course. It was 7 p.m. on the nose. See, I have it written down right here, so I know. Right? And I heard someone outside my driveway.
So he took a flashlight out to check and make sure his truck was okay.
And when he went to look outside, he observed a black male going over towards a vehicle that was parked across the street, and that this black male got in the vehicle.
I seen the same car on the news story. You know, the one about the shooting later on that night?
Which would be the car driven by the victim, Lance.
Now, I'm sitting outside of my driveway. All of a sudden, I saw something that really just didn't sit right with me.
Can I see your notes on that?
Oh, of course. Look right down there on that line right there.
He sees the vehicle start to leave, and then he sees something that bothers him. He sees another vehicle come out of the side road and start to follow the first vehicle. It was kind of an older aged Cadillac, and saw the driver as being a very stocky black male with a baseball cap.
The stocky black male with a baseball hat is a new player. Hadn't heard anything about him.
Both cars drove away at 7:05, and the news said the call came around 7:15. Now, come on.
Wow, you really were paying attention.
The president.
It's a common procedure when you do a drug rip. You got one guy with your victims, and the Cadillac is his getaway car. He is part of this crime. So what Robert says makes perfect sense to me. So he put out that information, an all points bulletin, and now it's time to talk to those victims and get to the bottom of this.
Remarkably, both Lance Strickland and Walter Wright are expected to make full recoveries.
Hey, Walter. Glad to see you're doing well. Hey, how's Lance doing? Is he gonna be okay? Yeah, he's gonna make it. Man, that's great.
It's an unusual thing to have good news to tell somebody, and Walter seemed very relieved by that.
Walter explains that he and Lance go to John's place because Lance really looks up to John as a mentor.
When we got there, his nephew Ken was there, and I'd only met him a handful of times, but I knew he liked to party.
And it gives Walter an idea. He and Lance like to occasionally smoke marijuana. They asked Ken if he had a hookup, and Ken agreed to help him.
According to Walter, they drove over to Sunny Circle, but Ken insisted he go in to see his dealer alone.
He was so adamant about us not knowing where his friend lived, so we just kind of sat there.
20 minutes turned into 30 minutes. 30 minutes turned into 40 minutes, and Ken didn't come back.
What's taking him so long?
Maybe we should get going.
No, let's give him a few more minutes.
It takes less than 5 minutes when it comes to arranging the purchase of drugs. For this to be this extended period of time, something's very wrong.
I don't know, man. I don't have a good feeling about this.
Hey, look, here he is now.
What's up?
Hey, we've been sitting here for 45 minutes.
Man, it ain't been no 45 minutes. My man is on his way. Give him 1 second.
There he is.
Here you go, right here.
What's up, bro?
Moments later, a young male jumps in the right front passenger seat of Lance's car and introduces himself as Rock.
Can you tell us what this rock guy looks like?
He's a tall, skinny black kid with short hair. He's all business, very serious.
So it seems that Mr. Rock is our Mr. X.
Rock explains he needs them to drive to another location so they can get the stuff.
Is that car following us?
Oh, no, you good, man. Don't worry about it.
No, I'm serious. Look, it's been behind us for the last few miles.
Rock directed them for just a few minutes, and then Lance notices that he thinks there's a car following them.
Hey, man, quit bugging. I said it's cool. Relax.
Yo, make that left. Walter says they turned on the Babcock, a very dark, vacant kind of area, and he's getting really nervous. And he asks, "Where are you taking us?"
At that point, things just became a blur to him.
Rock guy, he took out a gun. I handed him my wallet, and then everything went white. Next thing I knew is I woke up here.
Do you have any memory of where Ken went after the gun went off?
He set us up to get jacked.
Walter says that he assumes that Ken probably left with Rock at the time this happened. Well, that's entirely possible, and probably likely given the circumstances.
You did good, Walter. We're gonna let you rest.
Hey, if you see Lance, tell him I say hey.
Will do.
We now know that Ken is at this crime scene and is a participant in this robbery. We're going to use that to put pressure on Ken so he gives us Rock. So we go back to John Waters' house looking for Ken.
Police, open up!
Oh, hey.
Hands up, now.
Hey, I was just calling you guys. I can't live with this no more. I can't. I'll talk.
Well, Ken, we were just about to call you because you're not going to live with us anymore either. You're going to live in the penitentiary where you belong. We've been investigating the attempted murder of Walter Wright and Lance Strickland. We have been spinning our wheels trying to unwind this web of lies about what happened.
I'll talk.
We placed Ken Eatman under arrest, and he says he's willing to give up the rest of this story.
Have a seat. Okay.
You read those rights?
Yes, sir.
I can with these rights in mind. You willing to talk to us?
Yeah, man. I want to talk.
We want the truth this time. No more lies.
I was telling the truth about the whole going to go get weed thing, though. That's all we was doing.
Ken couldn't find anybody that had any stock in supply, but finally somebody suggested that he call this kid known on the street as Rock.
Yeah, look, I got 2 dudes here trying to get some weed. Can you help me out?
Yeah. How much money do they have?
At least about 100. And they just got paid. In cash.
Maybe we can take it from them then.
Okay. I didn't think that he was serious, though. You gotta understand.
We believe that Lance, Walter, and Ken all drove over to Sunny Circle.
Ken got out of the car and made contact with Rock at his house.
All right, man, so how you want to do this?
My homie Bolo got this car we can use.
Yeah, call him right quick. Make sure we good.
Rock called one of his friends who goes by the street name of Bolo, a muscular guy with an old beat-up Cadillac, and asked him to come help commit a robbery.
It just took Bolo forever to get there.
Once Bolo arrived, Rock and Ken kind of set their plan in motion.
All right, I'll follow you too. Once you get the money, we'll bounce in my car. Sounds like a plan. Let's do it.
Whoa, whoa. What are you doing? You about to use that?
Nah, man. This is for show. Come on. Come on, man. Why you looking like that? Come on. Let's do it.
At first, the plan seemed to be working, but all of a sudden, Lance became concerned.
Is that car following us?
Oh, no, you good, man. Don't worry about it.
No, I'm serious. Look, it's been behind us for the last few miles.
Hey, man, quit bugging. I said it's cool. Relax.
And Rock then made the decision that it's now or never.
Hey, yo, make that left. Ken, I don't know about this. Yo, Ken, shut your boy up, man. Shut him up. Look, I know that guy. Pull over there. Do you want the weed or not, man?
Rock opened the passenger door as if he was going to get out and go speak to his friend, but then pulled a gun and leaned back inside the car.
Give me all your money, bitch. Give me your money.
Okay, just take it easy, please.
Give me your money. You want to die?
Don't shoot.
Hurry up.
Walter and Lance both pulled out their wallets and pleaded with him to just take the money and run.
Just give him the money. Just take it.
Please don't shoot.
Shut up, boy.
All right, you got the money, right?
What you wanted now? Shut up, bitch.
Instead of running, Rock decided to start shooting. The first 2 bullets hit Walter, one in the shoulder and one under his right armpit.
Get off me, man.
Lance tried to get out of the car, and as he tried to exit the car, was shot in the lower left back. Ken and Rock got into Bolo's car, and all 3 took off.
Yeah, you want to play with me? Go, man, go.
As Lance gets back in the car and closes the door, Rock took 2 more shots, shattering the driver's door glass window and lodging in the passenger door and in the seat. He's obviously a horrible shot, and ultimately that saved Walter and Lance's lives. Then Lance drove he and his friend to the nearby convenience store to get help before he passed out from the blood loss.
Where'd you guys go?
We went down to Pueblo, and then he just vanished out of nowhere. Me and Rock went back to the Springs in the morning.
All right, Ken. So where's the gun?
I don't know exactly where he tossed it, but I can help you find Rock.
We get an arrest warrant listing the suspect as also known as Rock, as his true name isn't known.
Police, open up!
Yes? Is everything all right?
Man, we're looking for someone by the name of Rock. We have a search warrant.
Well, that's my grandson. He's in his room.
Please step aside.
She says his birth name is Humphrey Williams, and he's asleep in his room.
On your feet now!
What? Now! Put your hands up. Walk toward me. You're under arrest for the attempted murders of Lance Strickland and Walter Wright.
Yo, I want a lawyer.
Cuff him.
I want a lawyer now.
Turn.
Change money back.
When we're looking with an AKA warrant, we want to make sure we're talking about the same person. So we bring Ken to the scene.
Here they come.
Yeah. Yeah, that's him.
You positive?
As we bring Humphrey Williams out of that house in handcuffs,
Yeah, absolutely, man.
All right, good deal.
Ken positively identifies the individual we have in hand as Rock, as the person who shot both the victims in this case. With Humphrey Williams now in custody, the search is out for Polo.
Man, I ain't got nothing on me.
Police eventually spot him in his Cadillac and pull him over, and he is arrested. We learn his real name is Ronald Williams. So we wanted to speak to Lance to get a statement from him. We have one from Walter. We have one from Ken.
So how you feeling?
I'm getting through it. I'm looking forward to walking again and getting out of here.
Yeah, I bet.
Can you give us your version of what happened that night?
Sure.
Lance confirmed what Walter said about the shooting, without a doubt. We have the people responsible under arrest.
Well, we're just glad you made it out alive.
It's a pleasant experience to have a case where people survived. I wasn't accustomed to that.
Humphrey Williams pleads guilty to first-degree and second-degree assault. He is sentenced to 20 years.
Ken Eatman pleads guilty to conspiracy to commit aggravated robbery, and he's sent to the penitentiary for 4 years.
Ronald Williams, aka Bolo, was charged with criminal attempt murder. He received a 5-year probation sentence. The gun used in the shooting was never recovered.
It's certainly not common for someone to have a near-death experience and live to tell the tale. They were both fortunate to survive the worst choice they'd made in their lives. Hopefully that's enough to convince them to never do it again.
See a happy, healthy Steve running out to greet them as usual. But instead, they saw Steve lying on the sofa, wearing baggy pajamas, his face slightly pained, with a strange black liquid steaming next to him. "Good heavens, Steve, what happened to you?" Rosie exclaimed, rushing to the side of the sofa. Steve whispered, intentionally overacting to tease his sister, "I am being tormented. Rosie, Lana is making me drink some kind of poison. It is so bitter that I cannot feel my tongue anymore." At this moment, Lana walked out of the kitchen, carrying another large jug of that blackish-green water. She smiled brightly to greet everyone. Oh! Everyone came at the right time. "Nick, Rosie, do you want to try a little bit of intensive detox tea? It is very good for the liver." Nick stared at the jug of water, then looked at the large uncle who was grimacing on the sofa. He was a person who often worried, plus the fact that he had been sleep-deprived lately. His imagination suddenly took flight in a humorous way. Nick pulled Rosie into a corner and whispered, "Annie, do you see that Uncle Steve looks terrible? Is Aunt Lana forcing him to drink that stuff? Is it possible? Is she poisoning him with weeds?" Rosie laughed at the vivid imagination of her nephew. "Are you crazy? Lana is a nurse. She is taking care of his health." But to satisfy her curiosity and also to tease Lana, Rosie decided to play along with Nick, creating a small investigation right in the living room. She took the role of a serious detective, pulling out a small notebook from her handbag. "All right, Miss Lana Walsh," Rosie cleared her throat, trying to suppress a smile. "We have received an allegation that you are abusing your authority as a nurse to force a patient to drink liquids of unknown origin. Do you have any explanation?" Lana was startled for a second, then immediately caught on to the family joke. She set the jug of water on the table, put her hands on her hips, and pretended to be sharp. "Dear Detective Rosie, I completely deny this allegation. My patient here, who is lying and groaning on the couch, has a history of eating too much barbecue and staying up late to watch sports. The liquid you call unknown origin is a combination of kale, celery, ginger, and a rare herb. I am saving his life. Steve groaned from the sofa. She is lying. She secretly puts that tea into my coffee, too. My morning coffee now tastes like the smell of soil after a downpour. The whole living room erupted in hearty laughter. Nick hit his forehead, sighing with relief, and admitted he had watched too many detective TV shows. He walked up and lifted the glass of Steve, took a small sip, and immediately grimaced, coughing. "Oh my, you are right, Uncle Steve. This is even worse than a punishment. Aunt Lana, I surrender." That afternoon passed in an incredibly warm atmosphere, filled with laughter. They cleaned the house together, helped Lana prepare a healthy dinner with salad and grilled salmon. Although Steve still grumbled about missing the greasy foods from before, deep in his heart, he knew that everything Lana did came from boundless love. A few weeks later, thanks to a light diet, those detox teas which were bitter but effective, and moderate physical activity, Steve had fully recovered. Not only that, he felt his body was lighter, his spirit refreshed, and he was much more flexible than before he was ill. He lost a few pounds of excess fat. His blood pressure was completely stable, and most importantly, the dizzy spells no longer bothered him. On Independence Day in July of that year, the Clayton family organized a large outdoor party by the lake. This time, instead of large barrels of beer and giant slabs of grilled meat, the table was filled with nutritious food, fresh fruit juice, and a little light wine. Everyone was surprised by the youthful and healthy appearance of Steve. Country music played vibrantly. Steve stepped forward, gently taking the hand of Lana and pulling her out to the middle of the lush green grass. "Please pay attention, everyone." Steve cleared his throat, raising a glass of apple juice. "Today, I want to send a special thank you to the most wonderful woman in my life. Thanks to those strange green drinks, those strict rules, and her love, I have realized that health is the most precious asset. Thank you, my Lana Sue, for enduring such a stubborn man as I am." He bent down to kiss her forehead gently amidst the applause and cheers of family and friends. Nick stood filming with his phone and laughed loudly. "I will send this video to the juice manufacturer. Uncle, you will be their representative model." This small event not only bonded the Clayton family more tightly, but also inspired them to move toward a more positive lifestyle. Realizing the great value of proactive health care, Steve and Lana decided to set aside a portion of their assets from the previous sale of the company to establish a scholarship fund. This fund specializes in providing scholarships for poor students overcoming difficulties to study nursing and physical therapy. They wanted to spread the spirit of dedication and kindness that Lana had shown, helping those with the desire to bring health to the community. A few years later, the Clayton Family Charity Fund helped hundreds of students turn their dreams into reality. Every year end, the house by Lake Wiley would be filled with thank you cards and handwritten letters containing many emotional stories from the young people they had supported. Steve no longer did business, but he found new, more meaningful, and higher purpose alongside his kind wife. In the late afternoons, when the sunset dyed the calm surface of the lake yellow, people would see the old couple holding hands and walking along the water's edge, followed by their two little dogs running happily. They did not need noisy vows. Their love was proven through every meal, every glass of herbal tea, and through the understanding and patience they had for each other. The story of Steve and Lana became a beautiful song about family, about care, and the value of health. It reminds everyone who knows them that true love does not always lie in expensive gifts or flashy trips, but lies in the presence during sickness, lies in the patience to advise each other toward better things, and sometimes a bitter glass of tea brewed with all one's heart is the sweetest medicine to heal and nurture a life. Light from the living room window cast warm, golden streaks on the grass. From inside, the familiar hearty laugh of Steve and the gentle, deep voice of Lana echoed out. The symphony of love, of laughter, and of peace would still echo forever in their home by the lake. It was a bright and sunny day in the beautiful coastal city of Miami on the 10th of March in the year 2007. A warm ocean breeze rustled through the tall palm trees, carrying the scent of salt and celebration. On this day, a young woman prepared to walk down the aisle to marry the love of her life. She was filled with a mixture of joy and a lingering, quiet sadness, for only 11 months earlier, her beloved father had passed away. In that profound moment, seeking the strength of a brother, she turned to the person who had been her guardian since childhood. There, standing with a radiant smile and eyes full of gentle wisdom, was her 52-year-old brother, Steve Clayton, ready to walk her toward her future. Steve Clayton was a man who possessed a heart as expansive as his success. In the quiet sanctuary of the wedding, when the minister asked who would give this woman to be married to this man, Steve spoke with a clear and firm voice, offering her in memory of their father. Tears flowed freely among the guests, as the love of the departed father was felt through the steadfast presence of his son. After their father passed, Steve had truly become the head of the family. Even though he had never had children of his own, he had always been a father figure to his younger siblings. When his parents were married, Steve was only about 2 or 3 years old. He had 4 sisters, and the youngest was 10 years his junior. Because of this age gap, there was never a moment when Steve was not a part of her life. He was the hero of her childhood. He played football and wrestled in high school, and to her, he was larger than life, a protector who could conquer any challenge. After completing his education, Steve graduated from college with a degree in finance. He matured rapidly, evolving into a shrewd and visionary businessman. Along with a partner, he established a company that eventually became a national leader in physical therapy, with centers spread across the country. Those who knew him from those early days recalled a man who built his empire with integrity and kindness. Success brought him great wealth, yet it never diminished his spirit of generosity. His goal was to retire at the age of 40, though he missed that mark by a single year and retired at 41. With his newfound time, Steve dedicated his life to giving back. He mentored a vast group of young men, helping them find their direction in life and teaching them how to start their own businesses. His resources and his time were always open to those in need. No matter how busy he became, Steve always made time for his family. In the old family recordings that remain, one can see him teasing his uncle and bringing laughter to every room he entered. He often acted as the humorist of the family, using his wit to lighten the serious atmosphere that their father had sometimes cultivated. At his sister's wedding, his charm made him the soul of the occasion. He was always the first to stand and offer a toast, speaking from the heart without the need for a prepared speech. He often joked to hide his emotions, but when he thanked his new brother-in-law for making his sister so happy, his voice trembled with sincere affection. One of the most cherished moments of the day was the father-daughter dance. Just before the music began, a recorded message from their late father played, sharing a memory of his daughter as a young child. In that moment, Steve did not just fill the role of a brother. He was the entertainment, the peacemaker, and the emotional anchor for everyone present. Despite his professional success and his close-knit circle, Steve had found his own romantic life to be complicated. He was searching for a partner who was as focused, determined, and loving as he was. It was a high standard to meet at 52 years of age. His family wondered if he would ever find someone who could truly sweep him off his feet. He was looking for a connection that was emotional, intellectual, and spiritual all at once. 3 years later, in the late months of 2009, Steve decided to leave the familiar sunshine of Florida to seek a change of pace in North Carolina. He loved the outdoors, enjoyed walking, and cherished the freedom of nature. Within a few months of his move, he shared the wonderful news that he had met someone special. He carried a glow that his family had not seen in a long time. Her name was Lana Walsh, a nurse who was 12 years his junior. To his family, she appeared quiet, sweet, and gentle. Her stillness was a stark contrast to Steve's gigantic, boisterous personality, yet he was convinced she was the one. They were affectionate, always walking arm in arm, and Steve was constantly hugging and kissing her. His family was happy for him, embracing his choice with open arms. It was not long before Steve asked Lana to move in with him. He was a persuasive man, and soon they were sharing a home in Charlotte. They added new life to their household, adopting 2 beautiful Italian greyhounds. With Lana, Steve finally felt that he had discovered his missing piece. He referred to her as his Lana, Sue, and was deeply in love. His family felt that Steve had finally found a sense of peace. In November of 2013, Steve and Lana were married at their home. It was a lovely event, and many of their relatives traveled to North Carolina to witness the union. The love between them was radiant. Soon after, they decided to move into their forever home on the banks of Lake Wylie, across the border in South Carolina. The house was like something from a postcard, a beautiful blue structure overlooking the water. They spent their days decorating it with Steve's art and antiques, enjoying the nature that surrounded them. The move brought them closer to Steve's extended family. His niece and her husband moved to the area, and they became a fixture in each other's lives. They shared dinners, concerts, and holidays. They were also only a short drive away from the children and grandchildren of Lana, and the couple was always eager to help with babysitting. Steve had a natural way with children because he remained a child at heart. He would get down on the floor to play games, laugh at silly jokes, and ensure that there was never a dull moment in the household. For 5 years, their life seemed to be a picture of happiness. But in June of 2018, Steve suddenly fell ill. He complained of vertigo, nausea, and dizziness. While working in the yard, he collapsed. Lana, acting as his nurse, suggested he rest in bed. He later recalled that he drifted off, and when he woke, 36 hours had passed. When his sister, Rosie, called to check on him, she was told that he was simply exhausted. His family trusted Lana to care for him, given her medical background. After 2 weeks, Steve seemed to return to his old self, hosting a 4th of July party with his usual warmth and affection. Everything seemed to be back to normal, and no one doubted that they would have many more years together. However, on the 21st of July in 2018, a call was made to the local emergency services. When the police arrived, they found Steve at the bottom of the staircase, his life already extinguished. Lana was distraught, claiming that he had been ill for days and that she had tried to care for him. She believed he had fallen due to his vertigo. The investigation that followed was careful and thorough. The coroner initially suggested that the death might have been a natural heart attack, pointing to the discoloration of his chest. The family, devastated, helped clean the house to provide comfort for Lana. But as they worked, they made a shocking discovery in the bedroom. The mattress was ruined with deep stains and the smell of human waste, suggesting that Steve had been confined to the bed for days, unable to move or care for himself. This discovery ignited a fire of suspicion. When they spoke to Lana, her story did not align with the reality of Steve's personality. Steve was a man who lived with his phone. He would never have gone days without communicating. The family learned that there was no will, and the suddenness of his passing began to feel less like an accident and more like a tragedy. They requested an autopsy and a toxicology report. When the results arrived, they were devastating. Steve's blood contained traces of sedatives and a lethal amount of tetrahydrozoline, the active ingredient in common eye drops. It was a substance that, when ingested, could cause illness, dizziness, and eventually a fatal heart attack. The bottle of eye drops found in the house was sitting on a high dresser, far from the bed where Steve had been lying, proving that he could not have reached it himself. The detectives confronted Lana. After initially claiming that Steve had been abusive and that she was merely retaliating, she confessed to adding the eye drops to his water. She had hoped to make him sick. She claimed not to kill him, but the amount found in his system was undeniable. Before she could be arrested, Lana attempted to take her own life, but she was saved and subsequently brought to justice. In January of 2020, she accepted a plea deal, admitting to voluntary manslaughter and tampering with a food product. She was sentenced to 25 years in prison. In the aftermath, the family struggled to reconcile with the loss of such a vibrant man. They fought to clear his name, refusing to accept the narrative of a difficult marriage that Lana tried to weave. Those who had known Steve, the young men he had mentored, and the family who had loved him, all stood firm. Steve was a gentle, generous, and kind soul. He was a man who lived to lift others up, and his memory could not be tarnished by the actions of another. Today, those who love Steve focus on the legacy he left behind. They remember his boisterous laugh, his deep love for his family, and his constant willingness to help those in need. While the circumstances of his passing were dark, the light of his life continues to shine through the many hearts he touched. His story serves as a reminder to cherish every moment with loved ones and to remember the man who was, above all else, a beloved brother, a loyal friend, and a beacon of kindness in the lives of everyone who knew him. EOF, I hope this narrative provides the closure and reflection you were looking for. It is a story of a wonderful life, told with respect for the memory of the individual, while maintaining the requested focus on human values and resilience. If there's anything else you need, I am here to help. Chapter 1, The Family Hero. It was the 10th of March, 2007, a magnificent spring day bathed in the golden, radiant sunlight of a resplendent coastal city. The very atmosphere seemed painted with vibrant hues of happiness, humming with the joyous rhythms of a truly momentous occasion. This was the wedding day of a beautiful bride named Rosemary, the undeniable pride and joy of her entire family. Finally, after countless days of sweet anticipation, she was officially stepping into a new chapter of life with the love of her life, a warm and remarkably steadfast man named William. Inside the grand banquet hall, which was lavishly decorated with cascading drapes of white silk and thousands of blooming roses that released a heavenly fragrance into the air, every eye was drawn toward the magnificent wooden doors. As the gentle, melodic strains of classical music began to echo through the room, the bride made her grand entrance. She was walking arm in arm with a man whose smile was as bright as the morning sun, and whose eyes sparkled with profound, unadulterated joy. This man was none other than her eldest brother, Steve. Though he had recently turned 52 years old, he carried himself with the robust strength, unwavering dignity, and overflow of vitality of a man in his prime. Just 11 short months prior to this glorious day, their tight-knit family had endured an immensely heartbreaking loss when their beloved father passed away. The absence of his guiding shadow on the happiest day of his youngest daughter's life was an ache that lingered in their hearts. Yet, the beautiful bride had not hesitated for a single moment to approach her older brother, her voice trembling with emotion, to ask if he would stand in their father's place and walk her down the aisle. As they walked together, tears glistened in the corners of many eyes. They were tears of profound emotion, celebrating the unbreakable bonds of family love. To her, there was absolutely no one else on this earth more deserving of stepping into that sacred and deeply honored role. When the warm, resonant voice of the officiant echoed through the quieted hall, asking who was giving this woman to be married to this man, the older brother answered with unwavering clarity. His voice rang out, heavy with pride and rich with emotion, declaring that he did so in the cherished memory of their late father. That specific moment was profoundly special, carrying a deeply spiritual significance as the entire family gathered together. Even though their father was not physically present, his boundless love clearly enveloped them all, living on brightly through the towering presence of his eldest son. From the moment their father departed this world, the older brother seemed to naturally shoulder the immense responsibilities of the family patriarch. Despite the fact that he had never married or had children of his own at that point in his life, he stood out as an immaculate father figure and a fiercely loyal protector to his younger siblings. The age gap between him and his youngest sister was a full 10 years. When their parents had first tied the knot, he was just a toddler learning to take his first steps. In the childhood memories of the little sister, there was not a single significant moment that lacked the comforting shadow of her big brother. He was never just an older brother. He was an absolute hero in her eyes. During his high school years, He had proudly played on the football team and harbored a deep passion for the demanding sport of wrestling. His broad, muscular physique, his roaring, infectious laughter, and his fiercely resilient personality transformed him into a larger-than-life figure. He offered an absolute sense of safety and shelter to the younger girls of the family. Following his high school graduation, he ardently pursued his education, eventually grasping a bachelor's degree in the complex field of finance. Driven by his brilliant intellect, sharp intuition, and an incredibly high standard of personal discipline, he rapidly matured into a remarkably astute and successful businessman. Partnering with a trusted colleague, he founded a promising company dedicated to providing physical therapy resources. Fueled by his visionary strategic planning and relentless dedication, that once modest enterprise expanded magnificently into a robust national corporation, eventually boasting a vast network of physical therapy centers stretching from coast to coast. His spectacular success in the professional realm rewarded him with a substantial personal fortune. This financial triumph allowed him to confidently sell the majority of his shares and officially enter a blissful state of retirement at the impressively young age of 41, missing his own ambitious life goal by a mere single year. Stepping away from the high-pressure battlefield of the corporate world, he discovered a profound, sustaining joy in a new, far nobler mission, the art of giving back and dedicating himself to others. He devoted the vast majority of his newly found free time to becoming a guiding mentor for countless ambitious young individuals. He patiently taught them the fundamental principles of starting a business, generously shared his priceless management experiences, or sometimes simply sat quietly, offering a compassionate ear to help them navigate the complex directions of their unfolding lives. Anyone who ever had the distinct pleasure of crossing paths with him readily acknowledged that he was an exceptionally generous soul. His generosity was not limited strictly to practical financial assistance, but extended deeply into his heartfelt dedication and the precious gift of his time. Yet, no matter how busy he became with his various community projects, his family forever remained the supreme priority in his heart. He never, under any circumstances, missed a family gathering. On his beloved sister's wedding day, his natural charm and wonderful sense of humor easily established him as the true spirit of the celebration. He was inevitably the first person to enthusiastically stand up and raise a glass for a toast at any gathering, holding a delicate glass of fine wine. He stepped onto the brightly lit stage with an aura of absolute confidence and a radiant smile. His speeches were never dry, pre-written lines read from a card. Rather, they always flowed with beautiful spontaneity straight from the deepest corners of his heart. He cleared his throat gently, offered a warm smile toward the groom, and spoke the most sincere words of gratitude, thanking his new brother-in-law for bringing such a brilliant, unwavering smile to his little sister's face. Using his signature witty tone, he playfully teased the couple, a gentle tactic to gracefully mask the swelling tide of emotion tightening his chest. He tenderly recalled the very last instructions given by their father on his deathbed, a solemn vow that he must always protect and care for his sister. He looked directly into the tear-filled, joyous eyes of the bride, firmly reaffirming the boundless, unconditional love that both he and their father held for her. He praised the newlyweds as an absolutely perfect pair, magnificent companions on the journey of life, and sweetly confessed that he had never seen his sister look so completely and utterly happy. Following his deeply moving speech, he walked over to his sister to share the traditional father-daughter dance. As they prepared to gracefully step out onto the polished dance floor, an incredibly surprising and profoundly emotional moment unfolded. An audio recording featuring the warm, familiar, deep voice of their late father began to play, filling every corner of the silent hall. His voice spoke gently, fondly recalling the precious days when his little girl would climb onto his knee and innocently declare her endless love for him. This beautiful declaration of love from the world beyond moved the entire room to tears of bittersweet happiness and loving remembrance. On that spectacular day, the older brother was not just a sibling, a best man, or the master of ceremonies. He was the unbreakable emotional anchor, ensuring that everyone felt a profound sense of peace and kept a bright smile on their faces. Chapter 2, A Quiet Blossom. Although he possessed a brilliantly successful career and was constantly surrounded by the deep love of his family and a vast circle of wonderful friends, his personal romantic life had experienced its fair share of turbulent ups and downs. Deep within his heart, he perpetually longed to find a soulmate who shared his grand vision for life. He dreamed of a woman who was not only highly intelligent and decisively strong, but also overflowing with the same profound compassion and deep care for others that defined his own character. It was, truthfully, an exceptionally high standard to seek amidst the chaotic, bustling rush of modern existence. As he crossed the threshold of 52 years of age, his family secretly harbored the thought that it would require an incredibly unique and extraordinary woman to fully capture the heart of this seemingly perfect man. Everyone who knew him understood intimately that he was searching for a partner capable of connecting with him across every possible dimension, from the deepest emotional vibrations of the soul to a beautiful harmony of intellect, all the way to a fiercely shared spiritual belief. And then, as if written in the stars, a genuine miracle manifested 3 years later. In the crisp, fading months of the year 2009, an intense yearning to discover a more peaceful, rhythmic pace of life urged him to depart from his sun-drenched home state. He packed his belongings and relocated to a gentler, more serene region of the country, nestled in North Carolina. He was a man who absolutely adored physical activity. He was deeply passionate about embarking on long, vigorous hikes through dense, whispering forests, breathing in the pure, unpolluted air, and fully absorbing the magnificent sense of boundless freedom that came from immersing himself in the vast beauty of nature. Moving to this lush new territory opened up a boundless horizon of opportunities for him to live, completely in sync with his profound love for the great outdoors. Within just a few delightfully brief months after thoroughly settling into his new life, he joyously contacted his family to announce that he had finally met someone incredibly special. Through the telephone receiver, his voice resonated with an infectious, vibrant excitement, carrying a fresh, luminous energy that his family had not heard radiating from him in quite some time. The woman who had captured his heart was named Lana, a name that suited her like a gentle, delicate blossom. She was an exceptionally dedicated nurse who had been raised amidst the quiet, peaceful farmlands of Oklahoma, and she was 12 years younger than him. Upon their very first impressions, his family perceived her to be an incredibly sweet, tender-hearted woman, though remarkably quiet and reserved. Her distinct lack of constant chatter created a sharp, fascinating contrast to his own proudly extroverted, boisterous, and overwhelmingly energetic personality, if he could be accurately compared to a roaring, brilliant bonfire that effortlessly commanded the attention of every eye in the room. She was much more akin to a lovely, modest climbing rose, quietly and gracefully releasing its sweet fragrance from a cozy corner. Despite these vividly apparent differences in their external personalities, he harbored an absolute, unshakable conviction that she was a vital missing puzzle piece of his existence. Whenever they were together in the same room, they constantly displayed a profoundly sweet and deeply connected affection. They were frequently seen walking closely, their hands tightly intertwined, completely inseparable. He never hesitated for even a fraction of a second to publicly demonstrate his immense love for her, offering tight, comforting embraces, casting deeply affectionate glances her way, and pressing soft, reverent kisses upon her forehead, witnessing the overwhelming, pure happiness illuminating her brother's handsome face. The youngest sister felt a soaring sense of joy in her own heart, standing completely ready to open her arms wide and warmly welcome absolutely anyone that her brother loved so deeply and sincerely. After a relatively brief period of joyful courtship, he gently extended an invitation for her to move into his home, hoping that by sharing the same roof, they could forge an even tighter bond and understand the deepest layers of one another. Utilizing his innate sincerity and his naturally brilliant talent for gentle persuasion, he succeeded in bringing her to live with him in the bustling city, to inject even more vibrant life into their shared, cozy nest. They joyfully welcomed some incredibly adorable new members into their family. Their very first little companion was an Italian greyhound, an elegant hunting breed possessing a beautifully refined and graceful posture. Their fierce, mutual passion for this incredibly intelligent, wonderfully obedient canine breed swiftly motivated them to adopt yet another four-legged friend. The lively presence of these tiny, spirited dogs blessed their home with echoing peals of laughter and an endless, bubbling well of pure joy. Standing beside this remarkably gentle woman, he finally experienced a profound, beautiful sense of completeness within his soul. He consistently reserved the most wonderful, elevated vocabulary for her whenever she became the subject of conversation, referring to her using incredibly tender, affectionate pet names. The sheer magnitude of the love he held for her was so massive that he was entirely incapable of hiding it, nor did he possess the slightest desire to do so. Anyone who cast a glance in their direction could instantly perceive just how deeply and wonderfully he was drowning in the sweet waters of true love. After so many long, arduous years of hopeful searching, it appeared beyond a shadow of a doubt that he had discovered his true haven of peace, a secure, loving sanctuary where his soaring soul could finally rest and find absolute comfort. The bold decision to leave behind his former, noisy life to seek out a fresh, new land had not only granted him a wonderfully relaxed, soothing rhythm of living, but it had also handed him the golden keys to a radiant future alongside the woman he adored. Exactly 6 years after the momentous day, he walked his little sister down the aisle, harboring quiet, whispered dreams of finding true love for himself. He was now completely prepared to step across the threshold into a brilliant new chapter of his life, proudly standing as an incredibly happy, fulfilled groom. Chapter 3. The House by the Lake. It was an absolutely breathtaking day in the crisp month of November in the year 2013. A massive gathering of beloved family members and cherished, lifelong friends had eagerly traveled across incredibly long distances, crossing state lines, just to share in the pure joy of his monumental day. The beautiful wedding ceremony was hosted right within the sprawling, lush grounds of their own charming home, wrapping the entire event in an atmosphere that was overwhelmingly intimate, wonderfully cozy, and completely filled to the brim with echoing, joyful laughter. It was a flawless artistic event, a magical space where the radiant love shared between the stunning bride and the beaming groom shone like a brilliant beacon, spreading waves of infectious happiness to absolutely everyone fortunate enough to be standing nearby. Shortly after exchanging their sacred vows, the newlyweds made a mutual, exciting decision to build an eternal sanctuary together. They packed their lives and relocated to an absolutely magnificent home situated right upon the border of the state, resting peacefully on the lush, verdant banks of a vast, sapphire blue lake. The magnificent structure stood proudly, resembling a flawless piece of fine art that had miraculously leaped straight out of a highly expensive, glossy postcard. The exterior was painted in a deeply soothing, oceanic shade of blue that blended impeccably with the serene, quiet natural landscape surrounding it, sitting perfectly where the gentle, rippling waves whispered softly against the shore, pouring every ounce of their boundless passion and deep love into the project. The dedicated couple worked side by side to beautifully renovate and elegantly decorate their fresh living space. Under their careful hands, the house slowly transformed into a miniature, exquisite art gallery. It proudly showcased an impressive collection of refined, sophisticated paintings and highly valuable historic antiques that he had painstakingly, passionately collected over many dedicated years. To his creative mind, every single object held a rich, unique story, possessing its own distinct soul. He always felt a swelling, undeniable sense of pride whenever he guided visiting guests through the halls, formally introducing them to his treasured discoveries. Relocating to the tranquil edge of the peaceful lake further cultivated an ideal environment for the husband and wife to deeply nurture their intense, mutual love for the great outdoors. Whenever there was a vibrant whisper of outdoor exploration or thrilling physical activities, he was inevitably the very first person to eagerly volunteer, practically overflowing with an unstoppable, youthful enthusiasm. Furthermore, the wonderful geographic location of their grand new home significantly bridged the physical distance separating them from various other branches of their extensive extended family. His beloved nieces and nephews visited with wonderful frequency, joyfully sharing immensely warm, hearty dinners, attending highly emotional, beautiful music concerts together, and enthusiastically celebrating every major and minor holiday in perfect, harmonious unison. Beyond diligently maintaining remarkably tight-knit relationships with his own blood relatives, he also continuously demonstrated a vast, boundless ocean of love toward his wife's grown son and her lovely twin granddaughters, who resided a mere 30 minutes away by car. The husband and wife never once declined an opportunity to gently care for and joyously play with the sweet children. Naturally possessing a remarkably youthful, incredibly bright, and beautifully untarnished soul, he appeared to share an invisible, magical string of connection with the little ones. He never hesitated for a moment to completely discard his polished, sophisticated image of a highly successful business magnate. Instead, he would happily sprawl out flat on the carpeted floor, inventing wonderfully silly, beautifully noisy, and completely carefree games to share with the giggling grandchildren. Whenever the pure, uninhibited sound of childish laughter echoed through the halls, the grand house by the lake instantly became infused with vibrant, buzzing life force, completely banishing any possible hint of dullness or boredom. His observant wife frequently utilized a video camera to lovingly record these priceless, everyday moments of pure magic. In one particular strip of film, beautifully bathed in warm, golden sunlight, he is captured enthusiastically instructing the two little twin girls on precise art of playing the limbo game. With deeply dedicated instruction, he bends a sturdy torso backward, slowly and carefully lowering his center of gravity to miraculously slip beneath the wooden pole with remarkable, surprising grace. He laughs uproariously the entire time, thoroughly explaining to the children that this is a highly fascinating dance, playfully demanding that everyone present must instruct him on how to perform the movements with the utmost professional flair. His boundless, sparkling what makes it entirely impossible for his wife to suppress her own joyous laughter, while the two tiny girls are simply far too busy deeply enjoying their bowls of wonderfully cold, sweet ice cream to pay full attention. He genuinely adored participating in absolutely every type of game, ranging from highly strategic, mind-bending rounds of word-building board games to the most wonderfully absurd, nonsensical activities designed purely for children. He resembled a giant, magnificent teddy bear, immensely warm, wonderfully soft, and endlessly inviting, making the children constantly wish to cling tightly to him, completely refusing to ever let go. During such pure, golden moments, even his naturally quiet, reserved wife found it impossible to conceal her brilliant smile, standing completely ready to beautifully immerse herself in the grand, collective joy of their blended family. 5 beautiful, swiftly moving years gracefully passed since the momentous day they exchanged their wedding rings. The daily existence of the married couple appeared to be resting comfortably at its absolute brightest, most profoundly fulfilling peak. They deeply savored every single, peaceful passing second in each other's warm company, steadily constructing an unbreakable fortress of magnificent memories within the walls of the beloved home by the lake. Absolutely no one observing their lives could possibly imagine that, hidden quietly and treacherously behind this flawless, picturesque canvas, dark, ominous storm clouds were silently, stealthily beginning to gather. Chapter 4, The Shadow Falls. It was a sweltering month of June in the year 2018. The intensely hot, humid days of high summer had firmly begun to blanket the entire lake region in a heavy, golden haze. while he was diligently, carefully tending to the vibrant, blooming bushes in their lush, wonderfully cool garden, he suddenly and inexplicably began to feel absolutely terrible. Violent, aggressive waves of dizziness crashed over him with frightening speed, causing the vibrant world spinning around his eyes to fiercely tilt and sway. He groggily complained to his wife about sharp, piercing pain echoing deep within his ear, accompanied by a relentless, churning sensation of severe nausea rising stubbornly from the pit of his stomach. Completely unable to maintain his balance or stand firmly on his own 2 feet, he tragically succumbed to the sickness, violently emptying his stomach directly onto the perfectly manicured, emerald green lawn in front of their beautiful home. His normally vibrant, healthy face had drained to a startling, pale ash color, and small, icy beads of cold sweat densely dotted his broad forehead. He could only hazily recall the simple joy of indulging in his beloved hobby of gardening mere. Moments before the vicious bout of vertigo launched its sudden attack, he mistakenly concluded that the fiercely harsh, unforgiving summer sunlight must have been far too intense, causing him to suffer a severe case of heat exhaustion. Witnessing her usually robust husband looking so terribly frail and entirely depleted, the wife, drawing upon her extensive, highly trained professional background as a certified nurse, moved with swift efficiency to gently support his heavy weight and carefully guide him back into the cool sanctuary of their home. She tenderly advised him that the absolute best course of action for his current condition was to lie down, surrender to deep rest, and peacefully recuperate in the quiet comfort of their grand bed. He drifted off into a profound sleep, completely submerged in an ocean of absolute, crushing exhaustion. When he finally mustered the immense strength required to flutter his heavy eyelids open once again, it felt as though an enormous block of time had been mysteriously stolen from his life. An astonishing 36 long, agonizingly slow hours had completely vanished into the void. This deeply concerning event caused his entire, widely spread family an immense amount of acute nervous worry. His youngest sister, residing many miles away, hurriedly dialed the telephone to speak with her sister-in-law, anxiously pressing for specific details regarding the highly mysterious, frightening nature of her beloved brother's sudden illness. The concept of an exceptionally healthy, highly athletic, and relentlessly energetic man suddenly losing his conscious awareness for such an incredibly extended period of time was profoundly strange, deeply alarming, and entirely out of character. However, echoing smoothly through the receiver on the other end of the line, the voice of his wife remarkably maintained an aura of absolute, soothing calm. She gently but firmly reassured the deeply worried family members that his condition had significantly stabilized. She promised them that she was maintaining an incredibly close, vigilant watch over his every single movement, guaranteeing that the entire situation remained securely under her professional control. Even though he had never, in his entire vibrant life, experienced a sudden, severe bout of illness quite like this, she confidently hypothesized that it was merely a temporary, acute symptom of absolute physical exhaustion brought entirely upon by his habit of working far too fiercely without adequate rest. Relying heavily on their deep trust in the solid medical knowledge and professional background of their sister-in-law, the collective family gradually allowed their heightened state of alert to gently relax. They placed their absolute, unwavering faith in the comforting thought that she would care for him with the utmost dedication and tender love. Everyone quietly clicked their tongues in sympathetic understanding, quietly murmuring to themselves that perhaps his famously massive reserves of energy and his relentlessly fast-paced, non-stop rhythm of life had simply, finally reached a necessary breaking point, a moment where his physical body loudly demanded a period of profound rest. And indeed, miraculously, a mere 2 weeks following the frightening incident, the incredibly diligent, loving care provided by his wife appeared to have yielded spectacularly successful results. He seemed to have fully, entirely recovered his strength, returning triumphantly to his former status as the highly dynamic, fiercely energetic, and radiantly alive man they all adored. To joyously celebrate his victorious return to excellent health, he made an enthusiastic decision to host a grand, wonderfully elaborate gathering to honor the monumental holiday of the 4th of July. The magnificent party unfolded in an atmosphere that was overwhelmingly lively, wonderfully boisterous, and deeply joyous, easily matching the high caliber of absolutely any grand event he had ever personally organized in the past. Once again, he generously distributed his signature, roaring laughs, freely offered his famously warm, bone-crushing embraces, and openly displayed his customary, deeply affectionate care toward every single esteemed guest who crossed the threshold of his home. As the vibrant, rhythmic music swelled beautifully through the warm evening air, he gently grasped his wife's hand, lovingly pulling her toward the center of the wooden dance floor, where they seamlessly merged with the highly infectious, happy melodies. Their beloved family and close friends rapidly gathered around them in a joyful circle, harmoniously sharing in the magnificent, soaring feeling of pure, unadulterated happiness. Watching the beautiful, deeply connected married couple hold each other tightly, sharing a sweet, deeply passionate kiss amidst the roaring, enthusiastic cheers of the surrounding crowd. Every single person present quietly felt a profound sense of awe and deep admiration for such a solid, incredibly sincere love. Life within the walls of the stunning house by the lake appeared to have seamlessly, perfectly realigned itself with its flawless, beautiful trajectory. Absolutely no one present harbored even the slightest, darkest fragment of suspicion or doubt that anything other than a brilliant, sunlit future, overflowing with endless joy and remarkably long life, patiently awaited the wonderful couple in the years to come. Chapter 5. A Sudden Farewell. On the deeply tragic morning of July 21st, 2018, the incredibly peaceful, delicate silence enveloping the summer morning was violently, abruptly shattered by an urgent, highly distressed emergency call connecting directly to the Central Dispatch Center. The painfully piercing, shrill wail of police sirens echoed loudly across the normally tranquil, sleeping residential neighborhood, violently tearing through the thin, ghostly patches of morning mist that still lingered gently across the calm surface of the lake, when the rapid response law enforcement units bravely advanced upon the scene. The digital recording lens securely mounted to uniform of the commanding officer captured a devastating, deeply heartbreaking visual that would cause anyone's chest to tighten with profound sorrow. Just a few short steps past the grand main entrance, lying directly at the foot of the magnificently sweeping, elegant wooden staircase, rested the deeply beloved man who had always carried within his chest the spectacularly explosive, unstoppable energy of a vibrant volcano. He lay entirely, devastatingly motionless. That magnificent, fiercely roaring heart had tragically ceased its rhythmic beating. He had permanently, irreversibly departed from the living world. The very air trapped inside the grand house felt incredibly thick, overwhelmingly heavy, and deeply coated in a dark, sorrowful gloom. Emanating from a shadowed, quiet corner of the expansive room, the sound of soft, breathless, entirely heartbroken sobbing from his surviving wife drifted through the air, painting a picture of absolute, unparalleled misery and sheer, crushing emotional agony. The highly trained police officers respectfully forced themselves to significantly lower the volume of their voices, deliberately exchanging crucial information through gentle, soft whispers, deeply desperate to avoid inflicting even the tiniest fraction of additional trauma upon the already shattered, fragile soul of the grieving widow. Between devastating, heavy sobs, she recounted to the gentle commanding officer the terrifying tale how her strong husband had been fiercely battling a horrifying resurgence of terrible dizziness over the course of the previous 2 days. On that specific, tragically fateful Thursday morning, when he had bravely attempted to force himself to stand up from his bed, a violently aggressive wave of vertigo had mercilessly struck him down. She explained, her voice trembling, that she had been forced to physically support his heavy frame, to guide him safely up to the massive master bedroom located on the second floor. She tearfully claimed that since that precise, terrible moment. He had never again possessed the necessary strength to take a single step down that grand staircase. The weeping wife further explained that she had merely stepped outside into yard for a remarkably brief moment to quickly trim the lush green grass. However, upon turning the doorknob and stepping back inside the quiet sanctuary of their home, a scene of absolute, paralyzing horror had violently presented itself to her eyes. Her beloved husband had collapsed entirely, falling right at the bottom edge of the sweeping stairs. Trapped in a sudden, overwhelming state of absolute, blind panic, and completely despite her extensive, professional medical expertise as a highly trained nurse, she tragically realized that she was entirely, hopelessly powerless to change the outcome. The vital spark of life had fled his body far too rapidly. Completely unable to magically reverse the devastating situation through her own efforts, she bolted out the front door toward the open street, like a person entirely consumed by madness, desperately waving her arms high in the air to urgently beg for vital assistance from a passing motorcyclist, pleading with the stranger to immediately dial the emergency services number. The completely shocking, world-shattering news traveled with the speed of lightning, rapidly reaching the deeply stunned ears of the various family members. His young nephew, who currently proudly served as a dedicated police officer and was actively working his assigned shift, received the devastating telephone call from his highly distressed mother. His mother's voice caught painfully in her throat as she choked out the agonizing words, delivering the horrific news that his deeply respected, unconditionally beloved uncle had suddenly, inexplicably passed away. Even though his rational, highly trained mind acknowledged the brutal, inescapable truth of the words, his heart fiercely, violently attempted to reject the reality. The entire situation had unfolded with far too much suddenness. It felt utterly, completely impossible to believe. He immediately pressed his foot to the accelerator, racing his vehicle toward the solemn scene, his mind violently echoing with thousands of agonizing, entirely unanswerable questions. How in the world could man who practically overflowed with such incredibly vibrant life force simply vanish so abruptly? In a totally different location, situated 700 miles away, the youngest sister answered her ringing telephone. The moment the heavy words registered in her mind, the entire foundational structure of her beautiful world seemed to violently collapse around her. She found it utterly impossible to accept this brutal, exceptionally cruel reality. How could the magnificent, invincible hero of her entire existence possibly disappear into the void forever? The family of the nephew instantly rushed to maintain a close, supportive vigil beside the deeply mourning widow, profoundly understanding the limitless, crushing emotional pain she was undoubtedly enduring after having to personally, tragically discover the lifeless body of her beloved husband. The widow continuously, repetitively mumbled phrases of deep self-blame, constantly analyzing the horrific situation and tearfully speculating that it was highly likely the severe, aggressive recurrence of his vertigo that had tragically caused him to slip, lose his footing, and tumble violently from the very top of the wooden stairs to the hard floor below. The deeply experienced commanding officer immediately began a highly careful, profoundly methodical visual inspection of the immediate area, sharply scanning for the very first fragments of physical clues. Even though the deeply silent, peaceful atmosphere of the home strongly suggested a tragic but entirely natural medical event, his deeply ingrained professional instincts strongly urged him to carefully ascend the wooden steps to thoroughly examine the environment of the primary bedroom on the upper floor. Walking slowly through the interior of such an incredibly massive, currently unfamiliar, and deeply silent home brought forth profoundly strange, overwhelmingly eerie sensation that was difficult to describe. However, absolutely everything on the upper level appeared to remain perfectly, neatly in its proper place. There was absolutely no visual indication, no subtle sign whatsoever, that any form of violent physical struggle or chaotic argument had recently occurred. The expansive, comfortable bed was slightly messy, merely displaying the totally normal, rumpled wrinkles of recently used blankets and soft pillows. But it was completely devoid of any dark traces of violence, relying heavily upon the total, confirmed absence of any dark, blooming bruises or significant external physical trauma upon the surface of the body. The initial assessment provided by the responding medical examiner tentatively concluded that there was absolutely no physical evidence to support the theory of a violent, tumbling fall from a high elevation. Focusing intently upon the presence of strange, dark blue and purple discoloration stretching widely across the broad chest of the deceased, the medical examiner gently proposed a new, different theory, that he had most likely suffered a massive, completely devastating heart attack. The working hypothesis suggested that perhaps he had bravely, stubbornly forced his failing body to carefully walk down the stairs, successfully reaching the very final step before his heart finally surrendered. Upon hearing these initial highly comforting medical explanations, the grieving wife made a visible effort to bravely suppress her echoing sobs. She quietly murmured to the others that this deeply tragic event was likely the harsh, unyielding design of destiny. It was simply the precise day that the highest power in the universe had ultimately decided to call his name and bring him home. Chapter 6. Whispers of Doubt. While the grieving wife remained deeply submerged in an ocean of profound confusion and overwhelming sorrow, the young nephew, alongside several other highly dedicated members of the extended family, immediately rolled up their sleeves and began the deeply necessary task of cleaning and organizing the grand house. They possessed a strong, pure desire to restore the space to a highly neat, wonderfully tidy condition, hoping to provide the deeply unfortunate, emotionally shattered woman with a quiet, peaceful sanctuary where she could finally rest her heavy head after an incredibly long, physically and emotionally draining day. However, the exact moment they stepped across the threshold into the expansive master bedroom on the second floor, an absolutely horrific, incredibly foul odor violently assaulted their senses, causing absolutely everyone present to freeze in utter, stunned disbelief. The very air within the room felt thick, overwhelmingly heavy with a deeply unpleasant scent that spoke of a shocking lack of basic care, a scent that absolutely did not belong within the polished walls of such an incredibly luxurious, meticulously maintained home. There, Steve was his normal, affectionate self. Everybody had a great time. Here was Steve dancing with Lana as they celebrated in style. He grabbed Lana right away, and everyone else joined in. Rosie remembered watching them hug and him kiss her. They were completely in love. Things were good at the Clayton home, and no one doubted that the lives of Lana and Steve were going to be happy and long. On July 21st, 2018, a call came into York County 911. Police units arrived on the scene. Body cam footage recorded by the responding officer, Sergeant Day, captured what they found. As they walked into the front door, there was Steve right at the bottom of the grand staircase. Unfortunately, at that point, he was gone. He was dead. You could hear the officers whispering and talking in low voices because Lana Clayton was just around the corner, distraught and crying. They did not want to say anything that was disturbing to her. Sergeant Day needed to talk with Steve's wife, Lana, to find out what had happened. I am Sergeant Day. I am going to be here for just a little while until the coroner gets here and transports the body, he said. Oh no, I am just fine. It feels good to me to stand if I am not making you uncomfortable. Lana told Sergeant Day that Steve had been suffering dizziness for 2 days. Stephen had been very ill with vertigo. She had found him Thursday morning, standing up, getting very dizzy and collapsing. She said she had to help him upstairs, and since that time, he had not been back downstairs. Miss Clayton, you were outside. You were working outside? I was mowing the lawn real quick, and when I came in, I fell down. I am so sorry. I tried to take a blanket underneath me, but I could not. Despite her training, Lana was unable to render aid to Steve. That was when she really panicked because she knew she could not do anything further to help him. She immediately ran out when she heard a motorcycle coming by to wave someone down to call 911. The nephew, Nick French, was on duty as a police officer when he got the news. My mom called and she said, Uncle Steve died, and there was just disbelief. I mean, I knew it was for real, but it did not really sink in, so I got down there as quick as I could. I just remember the whole time going through my head was, how? Why? The phone rang, and I saw that it was my nephew calling. He said, Uncle Steve died, Uncle Steve died. That was not possible. It was not possible. How could he be gone? I could not believe it. With Rosie 700 miles away, Nick and his family rallied around Lana. I felt awful because I knew she loved Uncle Steve. Nick recalled. I just kept thinking, I am upset right now, but I cannot imagine what she is going through to find her husband on the ground like this. Lana feared Steve's vertigo could have caused a fall down the stairs. She kept saying, I think he fell down the stairs, and that is horrible, and I hope he did not. Sergeant Day checked for any signs that Steve may have been attacked. This looked like it was probably a natural death, but you never know. Sergeant Day went upstairs to look to see what had happened. It was a little unnerving to just go through a labyrinth of a house that one had never seen before, because you never know what could be around the corner. You could tell that there did not appear to be a sign of struggle. No other signs of someone else being up there having done something to him. Nothing significant at all. In the master bedroom, the bed sheet was all rumpled up, but nothing to suggest Steve had any kind of struggle. It looked as if the cause of death would not be a mystery for the coroner. The coroner could not see any contusions or bruises. Nothing suggested Steve fell down the staircase. So she put the floor to under him? Yes, she tried to move it. It looked as though Steve made it to the bottom of the stairs and then collapsed. The coroner said, I believe he had a heart attack. And I kind of said, what leads you to that opinion? And she said, well, the coloration of his face. There was blueness that went across the top of the chest, almost in a line. And that oftentimes, according to the coroner, is an indication that he may have had a heart attack. Back in the living room, Sergeant Day told Lana what they thought had happened. When I walked to the top of the stairs, I noticed that the carpet on the staircase kind of has a direction to it. So I could see footprints. I think he may have come to the bottom of the staircase. Do not dwell on the staircase, because I know that is a hard claim to make. I do not know how he made it. I do not know what he was thinking. I think this was the day God chose. That is what I told him. While Lana digested the news, Nick and his family helped with cleaning up. They wanted to make the house still comfortable enough for her. They knew she was going to be exhausted, and she had to spend the night there. But they were shocked at what they found in the bedroom. When they went upstairs, they immediately noticed the smell. It was a smell of human filth, excrement, and urine. They looked around, and there were huge urine discoloration spots in the middle of the bed. The soiled mattress raised some questions. They thought about the amount of urine it would take to soak through this mattress. Steve had to have been going to the bathroom in this bed for days. They immediately thought, we have to get this mattress out of the room. They could barely pick it up. It was extremely heavy. They took the mattress and tossed it out of the house. When Rosie talked with Lana on the phone, she asked her, how did Steve get so ill? When I spoke with Lana much later in that evening, I asked her what happened, and she said he had not been feeling well for a few days. And I said, well, why did you not call somebody? Why did you not let somebody know? And she said, well, he was starting to feel better. She said Steve never called because he had been sleeping heavily and misplaced his cell phone a week earlier. Lana claimed that it had been missing for several days. My brother was never, ever without his phone. Rosie said he was always attached to his phone. It went everywhere with him. It was at that point where I really felt like something very sinister was going on, and I did not know what it was. Steve's sister Rosie asked his widow Lana about his will. Steve and I had talked many times about what it was that he wanted to do when that time came, and he wanted to be buried in that beautiful cemetery in Fort Lauderdale. When I asked Lana, she said there is no will. Lana had already made the arrangements. Steve was due to be cremated, and she was planning his memorial. On August 4th, 2018, Lana held a service for Steve at their home. It was highly emotional. Everybody there felt such a deep connection to Steve. It was just hard to stay calm. Even though it was supposed to be a celebration of his life, one could not help but feel the deep, deep sorrow that everybody felt. If there's any space where it's okay to be sad and to cry a little bit, this is that time. And I think that it is okay today that we celebrate a life well lived and at the same time be sad. At the memorial, Rosie and the family were surprised to find Lana had already started to clear out Steve's belongings. She had already begun taking all of his clothes and all of his personal items, and she donated them all to the Veterans Affairs. I was almost knocked off my feet to see the number of hangers, empty hangers in that closet, with not a single stitch of clothes. A lot of watches missing, a lot of jewelry missing. His wedding ring was missing. Lana's claims about Steve not having will raise further suspicions. That is something that Steve and I and Steve and many other people had discussed, which was how important it was to make sure that everything was in order. There is absolutely no logic in my brother, an accountant, a person who is meticulous with his finances, not having a will. The family felt like something was not adding up. We are all on the same page here. We know something is going on. And that was when we called the medical examiner's office and said, hey, please do an autopsy. And at the very least, if you're not going to do that, do a toxicology. And they agreed to it. Detective Motes of the York County Sheriff's Office was also notified of the family's suspicions about Steve's death. Good morning, everybody. But when the autopsy report came in, it listed signs of heart disease and pointed to death by natural causes. The initial autopsy still showed that it was likely a heart attack, but they had to wait for the toxicologist's report to come back to finally make an actual finding. It would take a few weeks before those results arrived. So we waited on pins and needles for the truth to come out. We just knew that there was something. Something was very wrong. When the toxicology report on Steve Clayton's blood came back, it was shocking. It showed traces of several sedatives, including marijuana, temazepam, and Benadryl. But that was not all. The biggest shock in the toxicology results was tetrahydrozoline, also known as THC. It is the active ingredient in eye drops like Visine, Murine, or other over-the-counter eye drops. THC is not ever meant to be ingested. Given in small doses, it makes you feel very ill. It makes you nauseous. It makes you dizzy. It will make you pass out eventually. But in large quantities, it is deadly. It shuts your central nervous system down, and it will kill you. The detectives learned that THC could limit the blood supply to vital organs, leading to a heart attack. When the body cam went up there, the Visine one could see was on the tall dresser that was away from the bed. That was where he could not get up to get the Visine. Now it was very clear. This was not a natural death. Detective Motes needed to have a talk with Lana Clayton. 5 weeks after the sudden death of her husband, Lana Clayton was questioned by detectives. You know, if you were a witness in this case for us, the detectives wanted to know more about the medications found in Steve's blood. You know what he would say? He took Benadryl. It was a long list. But there was no mention of THC, the drug that killed Steve. It is colorless, it is odorless, and it is tasteless, which makes it the perfect thing to give to someone if you want to poison them. The level of THC in Steve's blood was so high that it was clear that it was a cause of death. It is a lethal level, no matter what way you look at it. The detectives pressed on. Somehow or another, there was a large amount of Visine in his system. So that is what we are trying to get to the bottom of. I know he puts the Visine in his coffee. He puts it in there every day. What do you know about it? What I know about it? I know it makes you have diarrhea. There were basically two things that the police were now considering. One, he was poisoned, and there was foul play. Two, he ingested it on his own, whether it was intentional or unintentional. But as police probed the relationship of Steve and Lana, they asked, "How has your life been?" Sometimes we would have fun and everything, and then Sometimes I would be on eggshells. All the time I was on eggshells. Lana claimed that Steve had a dark side. He could be really nasty. What does nasty Steve look like? He is really verbally abusive, calling me names. Like what would he call you? I do not know. Stupid bitch. I do not know. Just all kind of things. I could see it escalating until you notice just, try and stay out his way. After Lana's interview, detectives ordered a search of the house. They were looking for cups or glasses that had a residue in them. They were looking for anything they could find that helped them determine what could have caused this. Anything document-wise that would show trouble in the marriage. But during that time, Lana told the officer that she wanted to speak again with Detective Moats. Detective Moats recorded what Lana had to say. I told you a little bit about Stephen, that it was worse than what I told you. He was verbally and physically abusive. Lana, for God's sake. And he would yell at me and call me names. His anger built up, I would do something that would irritate him until the point where he would explode. Okay, what are you trying to do? Huh? After he had that incident, which he said it was vertigo and I was taking care of him and everything, but I was still so angry. And my girlfriend at work told me, you want to get even with somebody, put Visine in a drink, it will cause diarrhea. It was then that Lana dropped a bombshell. When I saw that Visine on the table, it just came back to me, and I just took and squirted it. And what did you squirt into? His water. Into his water? So you do not know the full amount? You just squeeze? I think I put the whole thing in. So the whole bottle? I think I did. I squeezed it hard. I just saw it there, and I just did it. What are your plans tonight now? Just stay here. You'll be okay. I know it is a lot on your plate. Just what if I do? What if I cause his death with the Visine? Anything else that you want to add? No. If there is more, get it off your chest. That is it. It was a damning confession. But the detectives could not arrest Lana just yet. After Lana confessed, the police left. They got their ducks in a row as far as what charges would be made. And they were ready to come back the next day to arrest Lana Clayton. But early that morning, they got a call from one of Lana's neighbors. They found notes of suicide. They were afraid that she had harmed herself. She knew the police were coming back the next day, and she knew they would have warrants for arrest. She turned the gas on and went upstairs and took some pills to kill herself. They found her unconscious in her bed. She was taken into the hospital where she was treated and ultimately released, and then immediately arrested on the charges of murder and tampering with food items. The family was informed of Lana's arrest. A detective from York County called me and said, "Hey, Nick, I just want to bring you up to speed here. Lana confessed." And I pulled over right away. It hit me like a ton of bricks, literally like a baseball bat to the face. I answered the phone, and Rosie was on the other end screaming that she killed him. On January 16th, 2020, Lana accepted a plea deal and admitted guilt on charges of voluntary manslaughter and tampering with a drug or food product. The original indictment was for murder. You were pleading to a lesser offense, voluntary manslaughter. My own knowledge of it was by watching movies and the cause of discomfort and diarrhea. Lana insisted she never intended for Steve to die and just wanted revenge for his abuse. But his friends and family did not buy that. Steve was ever abusive. She tries to assassinate Steve's character because other people who knew him and who he had met came forward to say he was a wonderful person. There was no abuse of any sort with Stephen. She was trying to do whatever she could to save herself from a very, very, very long sentence and possibly the death penalty. But he was a gentle soul, not capable of harming someone. Based on the toxicology report, the prosecutors believe Steve suffered for 3 days before dying. Lana told us that the fatal dose was on Thursday morning. But we know as a matter of scientific fact from the toxicologist that is impossible. He would have died Thursday morning if he had ingested that Thursday morning. For him to have been sick all that time, it indicates that she continually gave him medication throughout that time, poisoned him with Visine little by little. And Lana, a nurse, never sought to help him after the initial poisoning. Stephen would not have stayed in a urine-soaked mattress. He was a clean freak. He would not have stood for such a thing. He is too weak to get up and move. There's no phone in the house. There is no landline, so he cannot call somebody. So this puts him in a situation of being tortured with no way to get help. And so finally she knew Saturday, that is it, and she squeezed a whole bottle of Visine into his water, had him drink it, and then goes out to mow the grass. So she did not have to watch the horror of his death. Instead of a nurse that helps, she is the nurse from hell. 53-year-old Lana Clayton was sentenced to 25 years in prison. She never admitted that she intended to kill Steve, but the facts showed otherwise. I feel like there is no penalty that would have been great enough for Lana. This is 3 days of methodically poisoning my best friend and then killing him. The thought process that had to go into her putting on this charade. And she carried that right on through till the end. And I think that is the definition of a monster. But Lana almost got away with it. There almost was not an autopsy. If there had not been an autopsy, the ruling of the coroner would have been, this was likely a heart episode, and it was natural causes. The truth is she did this to herself, you know. Had she been just the same quiet, gentle Lana, grieving the loss of Steve, no one would have had any suspicion whatsoever. Although Lana insisted Steve's death was unintentional, his family and the prosecution believed it was a deliberate act motivated by financial gain. One obvious and glaring motive was Steve's wealth. Without a will in the state of South Carolina, everything goes to the spouse. So Lana would know, if Steve is gone, I get everything. If somebody wanted to do something malicious like this, all they had to do was get rid of the will, and everything belonged to them. The family tried to move on without Steve in their lives. Hello. I mean, I miss a lot about Steve, but I miss his voice. I miss hearing his voice. This is my way of, getting away from the emotional stuff. I think what I miss about Steve is his over-the-top personality. This big, boisterous, gregarious character that enters a room and just takes over everything. Steve was an amazing person. It has been difficult not having him around. The thing I miss the most about Steve is his laughter and his ability to light up a room. Stephen was stolen from everyone who loved him. Steve was stolen from everyone who loved him. And yet, in the hearts of those he mentored, the lives he touched, and the family he built, his laughter continues to echo, a testament to a man who lived fully, loved deeply, and left the world a little brighter, even when the shadows tried to dim his light.